the AMA. Welcome along, everybody. Thanks so much for coming, as always. It's another one of wargamer.com's famous live video AMAs in our Discord community. We do these pretty much every week now. It's really fun. We get all of our best friends from across the tabletop industry to come in, chat about what they're doing right now, answer your questions. That's the main point of these. Otherwise, I'd just be meeting Max for a coffee outside his beautiful Spanish office. But alas, no, I'm here in grimy England. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk all about Infinity and the brand new Factorial that's coming out as we speak. Hello, Max. This is Max.
Hey, Alex. How's it going?
It's going good. If any of you in the audience don't already know, this is Max Lattanzi, marketing team lead at Corvus Belli, head honcho of all of the beautiful pictures and words and videos and other materials that you see when new things come out for Infinity, for Warcrow, for all the other wonderful things that Corvus Belli makes. No, Rat Hat and Flash, Max is not Corvus second name Belli. He is a human being with his own name. Corvus Belli is the company. Yes, if any of you lovely people have not been to one of these events before, it is an AMA. It's kind of like an interview, but you ask the questions and I sit back and laugh. If you click the speech bubble in the top right of your screen in this Discord stage channel, that will bring up the text chat. That is where to put your questions. And I will read them, and if they're polite, I'll ask them, and Max will answer them. And if they're not, I won't. One last bit of housekeeping cover today. Thanks to the apparently endless generosity of the wonderful people at Corvus Belli, we have a giveaway again to share with you today. It's an exciting time for Infinity, the war game. Brand new next wave Factorial sort of sub-faction army in the Infinity war game is coming out, and Corvus Belli have shared with us, I believe 3, or was it 4 sets of the four entire sets of the pre-order bundle that they put together for the next wave. So each of those has the action pack, which is all of the miniatures you need for a core team, and then also the ridiculous Juggernaut, the big massive Cyber Tiger that's so cool, and the pre-order bonus character as well. So we've got 4 of those bundles on offer. If you ask a really good question, you are going to be in the running to win one of those. So good luck, everybody.
I do want to point out, if you want to see them in action on our official YouTube channel, we have a video that was put together with the help of Vanguard Tactics that showcases the wonderful miniatures and the pretty crushing rules for next wave as well. So hop over and watch that after this.
Definitely. We love the guys over at Vanguard Tactics. Give them a watch. They make some really cool content. Super. All right. Well, we've already got some cracking questions coming in the chat. Keep them coming, everybody. But I'm going to start at the top. Normally, I have to start with one of my stupid questions. Not this time. Oh, no. These guys are raring to go. So I'm going to start with Will. What made you choose the unreliable narrator for telling Next Wave's initial lore? And what sort of creative avenues does that open for you with future iterations on their story?
So I personally can't speak specifically to choice of voice for the lore, because that's something that Gutiérrez Lusquinios is the one that's responsible for developing. But I think that in general, we've had conversations about this unreliable narrator that he does tend to use for especially the more obscure happenings around the human sphere. It's because it is all a mix of subjective, objective happenings that everyone sees differently. So it is kind of just different news streams that come together, and you have, the official talking points put forward by Aleph on Mayacast, and then you have a little bit more of the unofficial documents redacted to hell to make sure that no information that's actually useful gets out. And it's all kind of a jumble of information and misinformation. So for Next Wave, I would assume that that was chosen because what happens in the lore, i.e. Achilles breaking off from Aleph, is one of those situations that, well, you're not going to find a ton of official news about, except for the fact that, you know, he's a traitor to humanity, at least on the official side from Aleph. So I don't know if that answers that question. I'm answering it to the best of my ability there, but I do think that it's, you know, on the other hand, it's just cool. It's just cool to offer these kind of, yeah.
It's cool in, I think, in any kind of, especially kind of lots of fractured factions with different versions of reality that they tell each other and themselves. Unreliable narration is undervalued, I think, for big, wide-sweeping lore stuff, as long as, you know, it's really well written, which the Infinity stuff is. There's so much to dig into here. This is crazy. Max, if you could only play one army, which would it be, and why is it the Caledonian Highlander army?
Well, actually, I do want to get into Caledonia because I recently read the novel Erard by John Levy, and which was awesome. Frankly, it's just a very complete look at what it is like to be a Caledonian and like the camaraderie between them and the fact that they are always outgunned, but you know, not usually outnumbered because they need to do something to make up for that. But as the official line at Corvus Belli is, and the people who are in here from Indianapolis can attest to, my army of choice is Yujing, and I have been a fan of Yujing from day one. I am moving towards Next Wave, though. I'm building and painting my minis there because they are it's just such a weird, cool faction to use to batter your opponent into submission. And I like that. I like heavy infantry. I like oppressive force. That's why Yujing works for me, and that's why Next Wave works for me.
I think I should probably out myself at the top, right up top here, as an Infinity noob. I run wargamer.com. I have played and played many war games, mainly a disgusting Games Workshop shill, as you'll be able to identify various things on the shelves behind me. But I have been really, really enjoying playing Warcrow in my spare time. And Infinity is like my new thing that I want to learn about. And Yujing looks super sick. Like, I really like that whole aesthetic. So there you go. There's your answer. Max loves Caledonia, read a book about it, but Yujing is his bae. What do we got next? Question. CB had several directions they could have gone with the next army to be either updated or created. What informed the decision to go with Next Wave versus an Onyx redesign or X-Ra or something else?
So again, I'm kind of the enforcer of the decisions on a marketing level as opposed to the deciding voice. But frankly, with the transition to N5 and the lore book that came out, we already saw that, you know, Achilles was betraying Aleph. So it needed to happen for the story. So that is the progression as to why that is. Now, if you're going to look at it philosophically, also, Onyx Contact Force is the initial contact force for the combined army. So, I mean, I love Onyx as well, and I'm always going to push for things that make the fans happy, but it made sense to pull out Next Wave first, and then start looking at other things for the following years.
Very
by the way,
worded ending to that answer there. I'm sure no one will ask any follow-up questions.
I saw a Ruby Monday question over here. Ruby Monday, by the way, I can't find the Ruby Monday question itself. I do want to tease her a little bit, if that's all right.
Max, you can always tease me, you know that.
Well, I mean, anything for you, Alex. But I think Ruby Monday is a super cool character that we're taking a look at doing some fun stuff with, and you'll get to know more about her in the coming months, especially in the new year. So she's not just a side character, let's say.
Very interesting.
That's as far as I'll go there.
But everyone is perfectly free to share as many Fifth Element gifs in the chat that they would like to. That's totally fine. Nice one. I've got to scroll back up because there's so many good questions here. I did want to pick up this one from Lil Stinker. With the introduction of flyers, is Team Corvus considering expanding into more vehicle options for factions? I know this is a perennial question for Infinity. Is that on the cards?
So, I had a conversation with the rules team about this. Actually, one of the first things that I, as a fan, wanted to know when I first came into the company was exactly that. And as things stand right now, it's been tested in a lot of ways. They've been trying to see how it would work. The problem is that it is kind of game breaking on the Infinity kind of small combined arms combat tactics that we're trying to represent, as opposed to having vehicles in there. So they've looked at it. They're continuously looking at it because vehicles are cool. It's just not something that is currently in the books for the foreseeable future. But that's not to say that it's not something that will be talked about for different games that we approach, different scales. I mean, there's Asheron's Fall, for example, which is ship combat, and it's not ours specifically. It's not made by Corvus Belli, but it is in partnership with us, and that's, taking a look at another aspect of these battles inside of the human sphere. So nothing's off the table. And something that they're getting increasingly annoyed with me in Corvus is just being the only American here, I'm just like, let's go bigger, let's go home, guys. Let's just keep pushing things to be crazier and crazier. So yeah, I'm gonna fight for it as a fan.
10x it, man. 10x it.
Yeah.
Superb. There's a question from Rat. I call them Rat. They keep changing their username to be different puns involving the word rat, so I just call them Rat. I haven't interacted much with Infinity. I looked up some stuff before the AMA, but I couldn't find much interesting, because there is one big lore website. Where's the best place to read about what's actually going on in universe? This is a question that's close to my heart as well, because I've read a bunch of stuff from the quite shiny, big, interactive Infinity Universe website. It's interesting that website exists. It's very sort of like just the lore, which is interesting and cool. But it is sometimes quite hard to navigate. And, maybe not as you'd like it for a lot of English-speaking users. So I guess their question is, what is the best place to read about what's actually going on in universe? But also, how is that improving right now? So the most complete place is going to be the wiki, but you have to dig. The best way to consume lore right now that we have is the novels, as well as the actual, N5 book. All the books that have come out in the past and books that will be coming out in the future that are lore and campaign books that we're looking at right now. But really, videos are where we're seeing a lot of great stuff come out, especially by Jet Warlore. He's putting together a lot of great stuff and has put together a ton of great videos on there. And the future is like we're trying to do everything we can for in the future to have more novels come out. Next year, there's going to be really interesting stuff that we're putting together right now to do with some of our owned media. I don't want to spoil anything
anything just yet, but we're like, I do think that the lore of Infinity is the coolest aspect of this game, because there's a human sphere that is just buzzing and alive. And I mean, the way that it's explained, right? Sometimes the books can be a little bit dense, but if you read them and you take the time to actually go through it, there's so much happening all the time. It's a universe that's continuously evolving, like we saw with what happened with Achilles. So highlighting the lore is top priority right now. So we have a lot of sources for you, but there will be a lot more in the coming years.
That's a very cool answer. And just by the way, if you want to do me a favor, everybody in the audience, obviously the chat is for your questions and ask your questions. But if you also have a favorite Infinity lore product, be it a book or a video, or something that you think I, as editor of wargamer.com and also an Infinity noob, should read/watch, put it in the chat because I'm interested. Moving on, though, another question from Panic the Anchorite. Is the Black Heart going to be out soon? Or are we getting a big box of the Tech Drakens and a mix between Black Hearts and Steel Jaws?
It's not been announced.
Classic.
Nothing's been announced. So we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens. We have noted the fact that the Tech Drakens have made some waves. I'll go that far. That's something that we did notice.
The Tech Drakens have had the biggest impact, I think, of
they did
any miniatures we've ever kind of revealed through content in the wargaming community ever. And several people who had not previously heard of Infinity reacted to pictures of those guys and just went, "Oh, yeah, I want to play that game."
I mean, it's a laser dinosaur with a giant sword on its head and its tail that is a mixture, techno-organic mixture. Like, there's so much going on there. So yeah, we have noted that people love it. And yes, there's something, we're discussing options for the Tech Drakens in the future. So don't worry, guys. We'll make sure we have a good product for you that has to do with laser dinosaurs with swords on their head.
There's your quote. There's your quote to take away. Further to that same topic, really, Upir Lihi asks, I hope I'm saying that right. Upir Lihi asks, Next Wave has the first essentially cavalry model for Infinity. Do you plan for more similar cavalry-esque models? He's going to shrug.
Cavalry models for Infinity?
Yeah.
Frankly, I mean, that's not something that I know much about. Although, I mean, yeah, I can't say anything here. I really can't say anything. So the enthusiasm has been noted. Again, enthusiasm noted. We're a company that we are very lucky with the fact that we can be extremely reactive to what our community asks for, because of the fact that we produce a lot of things in-house and we have that kind of control, and we have all of our, well, not all of our sculptors, but a lot of our sculptors are in-house. So we can be very reactive to that, and we can tweak things as we want. So should we have cavalry in the future, other types of cavalry? Usually, if you see one thing, there's usually others that will possibly come out, and maybe not. But we'll, buy more juggernauts to convince us. Is what I want to tell you.
It is a strangely common how often in these AMAs the answer to "Are we going to get this cool thing?" does tend to end up being, how you can get that cool thing. Buy a lot more of this thing.
Yeah, and that's how you convince a company to do what you want.
That is how it works. Here's a question a bit more about Next Wave in particular, from M4R-K0, brackets Mark, close brackets. Where do you see the place for the Next Wave faction in terms of how the faction plays? Is it more tech and shoot like Pan-Oceania, or more stealth and disrupt like Hack Islam? What would you say is Next Wave's unique gameplay draw, in other words?
So the fact that Achilles can go basically anywhere. By the way, Achilles coming out, as you all know.
I feel like
Totally something to. Yeah, I need to plug Achilles because also it's like the coolest model. But yeah, the fact that Achilles can go anywhere, that you can make extremely flexible link teams, cores around him, and not just cores. You can, like, it's basically a pick and choose faction of how do you want to absolutely decimate your opponent. Like, it's just like an armory of named and non-named models that can just totally decimate your opponent. So for me, it's brute strength and incredibly high level of technology. The fact that there's plasma everywhere also means that you're just going to hit so hard. The Juggernaut itself, I swear I'm not trying to plug it, but just the fact that you have something that big that can jump onto anything and can cautious move, a huge range, I think it's 8 inches, and just sneak around the board and just be this freaking Death Panther with a plasma on there. It just, there's a lot in Next Wave to love, and it is just, for me, flexibility and brute force are the real selling points of it.
Flexibility and brute force. There you have it. That's your elevator pitch for Next Wave as a faction to play. A question from Aspire. We've been seeing a lot of new sub-factions recently, and I know that's always been a big focus for the creative and development teams. That said, with the older sub-factions being maintained in N5, is there any kind of official update or quality of life patch roadmap for existing factions that you can share?
We did do a super quality of life patch for basically every faction. Like, frankly, Caledonia right now is brutal, and it's mostly out of production. So we wanted to make sure that people who have already collected these factions can continue playing them, even competitively, and that they're, going to be able to look forward to things in the future that come out possibly for these factions. It's also, again, it's us seeing what you guys want, gauging interest, and trying to make the stuff that you guys want to get. Now, what'll happen in the future is dependent on all of that. But I know I kind of sound like a broken record there, but it's facts there. We are going to make sure that they're awesome. We're going to make sure that if it's in the catalog, eventually we will always take a look at bringing things back. And we're going to try and not kind of have this continuous mill of removing sectorials and plugging them in and removing sectorials and plugging new ones in, because, guys, the easiest thing for CB is to do that, right? It is to scrap an old sectorial, get a new sectorial in, sell the boxes, and keep going. But that's not something that is fair to our customers, to our fans, and so we're trying to work around that and make sure that we are renewing what is, vintage, but we have to do it in such a way that it makes sense for us. Again, small company in Spain. We do what we can.
I was going to say, that kind of cyclical behavior does sound rather familiar, doesn't it? It's a bit familiar.
Yeah, not to name any names.
I didn't say anything. I was just stretching.
Nope.
Questions, more questions. This is an interesting one for me, actually, because I did want to ask something similar. Social Hater says, I've noticed that Infinity got a new flyer large model recently, and Warcrow focuses on larger models as well. Did Infinity receive any inspiration from Warcrow? I'm kind of interested in this because Warcrow has blown up so much since, probably maybe halfway through late last year. That must have influenced the core Infinity team a little bit. since that's happened. Obviously, the large influx of money must have been quite helpful, but in terms of the ideas as well. So adding to Social Hater's question, what inspiration has Infinity taken from Warcrow so far?
I mean, if you look at it at like a basic design level, Warcrow was designed to not have the ARO system, but still respect the fact that it's not just somebody throwing handfuls of dice for half an hour and then going on to your opponent doing the same and back and forth. So dynamic gameplay is 100% something that was borrowed from Infinity. The fact that it's small units as opposed to a full-on war game, also borrowed from Infinity, even though it's not one model per one model. We do have units in Warcrow. It still was made in such a way that it's not a large-scale battle. When it comes to the flyers and the big stuff, I mean, yeah, with Infinity, we've seen that the big stuff sells. The rules almost don't matter. Now, if the rules are great, then they'll sell even better. But there's miniatures out there with large, big hulking miniatures with subpar rules that still get sold on cool factor. So yes, cool factor is absolutely what we're trying to achieve with that bigger stuff. So yeah, it does borrow from that. In general, other things that Infinity's gained from Warcrow, that Warcrow's gained from Infinity, I would say basically having rules that aren't set in stone is one other thing. Like actually being able to get feedback from the community, see how things are going, it's because it's Corvus Belli behind it, right? So we're always trying to put something out, see how the community reacts, try to go for extreme balance. In Infinity, you'll see that the spread between the best performing army and the worst performing army is like 3-4 percentage points in win percentage. So with Warcrow, that's what we're aiming for. It's a new game. We need a lot more tournaments, a lot more data coming in order to balance it even more. But that idea of having a completely fair and balanced game, doesn't matter which faction is the, main faction or the new faction, we're always going to strive for extreme balance.
Fair enough. Just been
that answer was a little bit all over the place, but I do think I hit it where it needed to go.
I agree. No, I think it's cool. I'm struggling to keep up with all of these brilliant questions. I'm sort of alighting on.
By the way, compared to how's the turnout with the audience compared to some of your other AMAs that we always bring the crowd out, don't we?
Fantastic. Yeah. It's one of my favorites so far, purely because I'm seeing so many questions that are like picking up on things that I wanted to ask about, but in better ways. So I've already picked up one from Aspire, but we'll do this as a quick fire one. We have a bunch of community rules and events focused on team matches, 2v2 duos event at Adepticon example. Any plans for CB to release official rules for non-1v1 game formats? This is a big one for pretty much any game that's primarily designed for 1v1. Do you want to support officially more players?
So here's the thing. There's Infinity already 1v1. The average game is 2 hours. So are you going to be able to release, to play Infinity between 4 people in teams? Yeah, you can. And it does stretch out. And there's no official rules, but I've played doubles. I'm sure a lot of the people in here have played doubles. So it is doable. It is a little bit longer, obviously, than usual. But yeah, official support-wise, we need to take a look at it. If enough of the community wants that to be a thing, that's something that we can take a look at. But you guys are also welcome to play around with the rules and suggest things, because our design team is laser focused on everything that's coming out over the next 3 to 5 years. And so they need to stay on track with that kind of stuff. But Jay's in here. He came up with the Manhunt rule set that everybody absolutely loved. Has been taken by Chad and turned into this kind of narrative event. Like, I think Corvus's greatest strength is having this amazing community, the best community in gaming, really, coming together and developing things together and showing us what's awesome that we can then pick and choose what we want to add. So if you guys want a 2v2, 3v3 format, start playing around with rules, throw me an email, throw us an email, and we'll take a look at whatever you have. And I mean, also the Corvus Sphere is being set up right now so that you can build your own scenarios in there. And that stuff is going to be completely open to everyone so that you can have custom rules, custom scenarios, all go up for the public, for everybody to pick and choose what it is and play what they want to play and have the community feed off of itself and grow. So yeah.
Super. It's certainly a community that's turned out in force today and is behaving beautifully. So thank you, everybody.
Good job, guys.
I knew I had a good one. Yes, De Sept. Duke's Sept, if you want to be English. De Sept, if you want to be French. Something that's helped my local Infinity group get off the ground is table maps, like diagrams using commonly available terrain to suggest reasonably balanced tables. The setup is a significant barrier to entry, in my opinion. It would be cool to see something like that along with the terrain packs, etc. This is an interesting one for Wargames because obviously there's been a fair amount of controversy recently in terms of how the Warhammer 40,000 competitive scene is becoming very, very focused on just incredibly characterless L-shaped terrain in the exact same
I know.
and obviously that's something that a lot of other games want to avoid. But it's also true that really, really crunchy strategic games like Infinity terrain plays a big part in balancing that experience and making sure that you learn safely and nothing's kind of getting in your way. So is recommended terrain setups along with terrain sets something that Corvus Belli would be interested in?
I mean, there already kind of is, because when you buy the terrain sets, you'll see on the picture on there is a setup going on now. Is it set up exactly so that you can see where to place everything? No, it's not. But it's there to give you an idea. I mean, I think that especially for, both Infinity and Warcrow, but even more for Infinity, the table should be unbalanced. The table, like, there's part of the reason of why you get to choose table sides is because of that. It's a big deal to choose table sides. Choose table sides going first. Like, you've got to do the right competitive math and figure out what works best for you and your army. So, I mean, Infinity is a game that is the Wargamer's war game. It is not a game that we kind of try to hold your hand, because if you're playing Infinity already, you are kind of that, upper crust of Wargamer that likes its crunchy rules, and likes that kind of competitive edge, even if you're not playing competitively. So, yeah, it's just part of the learning curve, figuring out what table works best for you. And also, we would have to take an opinion. So, Alex, I don't know if you know this. In Infinity, you have the European way of setting up a table, and you have the American way of setting up a table, and then everything in between. But like the two big standard ones are, US and EU. US, we like to get down and dirty, tight city fights, like very blocked lines of sight. So it's very much like door-to-door combat. Whereas here in Europe, which is why I'm getting my ass handed to me pretty regularly here, also because I'm just not used to it, is they love these big open firing lanes. So it's just a different philosophy of how to set up boards, and we can't choose that. And there's no way that I'm letting Corvus choose the European way, because the American way to set up a table is obviously superior.
Yes, it's so obvious to look at the United States of America right now and think, wow, that's definitely superior. Let's not get off topic.
Touché, my friend. Nope, not getting off topic. We do know how to fight though. That you can't take that away from us.
All right. There've been a few. I'm way behind on these questions, but I'll say we've just passed the halfway mark. We'll try and move a bit more quickly through them from now on, so that we can
let's go fast.
Cover as many as we can. There's been a few questions about materials. Now, we talked about materials in the Warcrow AMA, and we've got a question here saying, "Will CB ever move away from metal models?" And then another person kindly saying that they are already moving away from metal models. Started producing with Sirecast, more recently with Unicool. I guess my translation of this question is, where are we with the transition away from metal towards Unicool? And how will that be represented in Infinity going forward this year?
So with Warcrow, it's a lot easier to kind of, talk about moving towards certain materials, away from certain materials. With Infinity, we have a huge amount of the player base that has been trained on metal and who absolutely loves metal models, me included. So that is it's a much more difficult conversation. It's also one that we talk about internally. Now, for the vast majority of things like S2 miniatures for the foreseeable future are going to stay in metal. And the bigger stuff, as you've seen, is, more and more geared towards being plastic resin. So it is something that we look at. Materials are obviously important. We're always trying to bring in players from other games, other big games that absolutely love plastic. So there's just everything's on the table right now. Again, small Spanish company, we're looking at our options. So there's your answer, non-answer.
Superb. I'm just scrolling back down through these. Quite a lot of responses to other people's questions, which is great. Wezomatic asks about the release timeline for Next Wave yet. So obviously we've had the pre-order part. We've seen those for most release series, but I don't think we've seen a release timeline for Next Wave. Is there one, and will we see it?
So in general, we try to release something and within a year give you everything that you need for that sectorial or faction. So by next year, around the same time that Next Wave released, so September, October, November, you should have everything that's related to Next Wave.
There you go. September to October next year, you should have everything. Igneous asks, actually we'll go back to Velis the Wolf asking, speaking of Caledonia, is there any plan to do a limited rerun for models out of range so some of the harder to get models are more accessible? There's a shrug again.
Yeah, I can't answer that directly. We do listen to you guys, so yeah. That's my answer.
Can't confirm. They do listen. The second question, the question directly after that is similar. Any chance for a made-to-order system to buy out of production models? Sounds like that's been noted. It's really crunchy new rules question from Obiescus. Be aware, Obiescus. Max might not be able to answer this as not a rules writer, but I do want to see him scrambling on the head of a pin, so I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
I understand why Patroclus isn't shock immune. It's Patroclus, a shocking death is essential to his character. But why is he still HI and not MI? Patroclus seems to be the only HI that isn't shock immune, with NWI/2 wounds outside 1 wound Ariadna HI that aren't hackable. Obiescus, I told you I don't play Infinity regularly yet. I don't understand that question, but maybe Max will give you an answer.
So the fact that he is heavy infantry also kind of caters to his point cost. You are going to watch me. I mean, I'm going to squirm a little bit because I don't have the best answer for you. But what I can say is that I will note that for Gutier to give me an answer for you guys, just because it is an interesting question. But yeah, so the math that goes on for in Gutierrez's head and inside of the rules design team to get that balance, that intra-faction balance and inter-faction balance is insane. So there's probably a reason, a good solid reason. The only thing that can come to me right now is just the fact that, points cost expensive gives a good reason for extra wounds. So that is the best that I can give you.
Nice one. The Grix. I'm speaking to you directly now, the Grix. I saw your first question. I'm going to ask it, but I'm going to leave it to the end. Okay, here we go. From what I've seen, so Grey Fox asks, from what I've seen, one of the biggest challenges for people to pick up the game are not the rules, but list building for the missions. Are you planning to provide any official support around that?
Sorry, come again? I was reading another question. Go ahead.
I bet you. Grey Fox says, from what I've seen, one of the biggest challenges for people to pick up the game is not the rules, but list building for the missions. Are you planning to provide any official support around that?
So I know that there is an unofficial page that actually basically tells you how to build a list that works with all of the missions, for certain missions especially. Can we give you official support there? Yeah, that's something that we can take a look at. That is something that is worth expanding. Anything right now, marketing department is looking at every possible way to get new players into the game, because new players is new blood, means the game grows, means the company grows. So all of the possible ways that we have to onboard new people, we're going to take a look at. That is a good idea. I'm going to literally make a note of it right now. So, yes. Next, Alex. We don't have time. We only have 17 minutes, and we have like 600 questions. Yeah.
Righty-ho. Medium infantry feel like they're widely less used than heavy and light infantry. Is there a wider plan to give a wider look at medium infantry and their place in the game?
Also a question for Gutier. I do think medium infantry, if you see it in like actual armies around the world, medium infantry is the hardest one to always find a spot for, which I think is also reflected in the Infinity Universe, because it has all the pros and cons of both light infantry and heavy infantry. So otherwise everything is going to tend to be medium infantry, and everything has to be costed for that. And it's a middle way of what it is that's actually ideal. So that's the best answer I can give you. I will drag Gutier onto one of these at some point, I promise. So yeah, keep the really crunchy questions for when he's here.
Yeah, get ready. Get all those rules questions ready for when the rules team's on station. I'm really sorry. Please NWI my Kawarish. I didn't say your name. Your name is Please NWI my Kawarish. There you go.
He's saying that because he wants no wound incapacitation. No, bad. But yeah, go ahead.
So I'm reading through this. This is kind of an interesting one again on terrain from Papachu. Terrain in Infinity can greatly affect the game, but zones are less important and often disparaged by players. Citation needed. Warcrow terrain doesn't super matter, at least it doesn't seem to, but terrain zones like forests are really important. Are there any plans to modify the terrain rules for either game to bring the positive elements of one into the other?
Well, I can tell you that the Infinity team and the Warcrow team, by the way, two different teams. Didn't know you guys knew that or not. Are working side by side, literally elbow to elbow. So they absolutely talk, and it's not a wall between the two. So yeah, anything that works well for one that isn't like a copy paste for the other will get taken, will be looked at. So again, not your rules guy, but if you want to talk more about like intra-company mechanics, like things that happen in Corvus Belli, sneak peeks of that nature, that's something that I'm willing to share to a certain extent. But yeah, that's the best I can give you. Sorry, guys. I will bring Gutierre on.
We've got a clear plan for the next one. A couple of different questions about War Cause stuff. Question: will there be any availability for support for War Cause or community leaders to get printed advertising, i.e., large banners, flags, signage, etc.?
That's something that we're looking at. Something that I am responsible for is the Warcore program that is inside of the marketing department's purview. So yeah, that's something that we can look at. It's not just going to be all Warcores everywhere all the time. We don't have unlimited funds, but if you need printed signage, you need roll-ups, you need something like that, that's absolutely a conversation we're willing to have.
Cool stuff. Yet another little bit of cool stuff that Corvus Belli will do to help their volunteer friends.
I'll pick up a quick and easy one for you. Korshai is asking, are we going to get more non-humanoid models anywhere outside of Next Wave? I mean, you guys like dinosaurs. You guys like non-humanoid models. They're definitely being looked at. So
clearly a very strong pro-dino streak in the community. So the laws of supply and demand would dictate that more non-human models are coming. There have been a number of questions about Toha. When are Toha coming back? Amy says, I need approximately 30,000 symbio buddies.
Okay.
Toha when?
Toha when? Future? That's the best answer I can give you guys. So yeah, I guess we'll see.
Obiescus, is it true that internal disputes at Corvus Belli are resolved via LARP fights?
So, not between everyone, but in the past, it has happened between the socios, the partners, who 3 of the 5 actively fight with swords. So yeah, that's a thing that's happened. Which, by the way, I will be trying to get into HEMA with them because it's a lot of fun. Everybody has armor. Everybody has weapons. They're willing to lend me stuff. I mostly fit into them. Alberto, the head of art, is kind of my size, so I'm going to borrow his stuff. It'll happen.
If we have any HEMA nerds in the house, I think you'll enjoy an article we wrote about Warcrow working with Corvus Belli a little while ago about all of the HEMA nerdery that went into the design of the new Warcrow miniatures for Song of Dormant. Okay, I've been told to go back to Retro XUS's question, and to be fair, I'm gonna, because it's good. If it were solely up to you, how would the LF answer Next Wave, or what would be LF's answer to Next Wave? You personally, your personal opinion,
My personal opinion, and I am speaking from I am not representing CB here, okay? So that is my caveat. This is not an official answer. This has nothing to do with internal discussions. Mama Aleph is big mad. Like, is the fact that she did not see this coming, to me, is that would make Mama Aleph big mad. So the response would just be to answer that with absolute retribution.
Yowza. O ritterliche Kunste. Good gracious. Upelihi is sharing German poetry. Our response must be swift and terrible.
By the way, this is a conversation that I had with Gabriel, the author of Death Song, and this is the Mama Aleph Big Mag quote is straight from him. I'm absolutely ripping it. It's true though. That's we agreed that would be what it would be.
Okay, we've got a few minutes left, folks. We've got about 10 minutes left.
Everyone buy Gabe's book is what Green Lupin is saying. Absolutely. Death Song is really cool. Take a look at it. Go on Winged Hussar Publishing and check it out. I'm sorry to plug for one of our authors, but it's awesome.
I mean, I specifically asked for recommendations, and that's the one I've seen most often. So it's the only one that's stuck into my extremely Teflon brain. I've got another question in mind here, but this talk of books has reminded me of one that I saw a little while ago. I'm sorry, I can't. If this is your question, I've forgotten whose it was, but I'm going to ask it. Audiobooks. Are you considering doing audiobooks for some of the wonderful Infinity novels that are out there? That's my paraphrase of the question.
I can't attest to anything right now for that specifically. So you're going to get the shrug.
It's giving you the shrug. I'll just say from my personal point of view, I love audiobooks. I think they are particularly well suited to the miniature painting community because you can paint and listen, and it's brilliant.
We listen to you, so it's definitely something that's being talked about.
Flash Fireball asks, the USRF was stated to be in the midterm for future updates. Any clarity on where it's at since it's been a year?
I can tell you that it is absolutely planned. It is absolutely planned. Now, what short, medium, long term means in the Corvus Belli mind is different. It's open to different interpretations. But I will say that it's planned. So, yeah.
There you go, then. Here we go. Recreations. Couple of questions on recreations. Celtic Goth GF96 asks, can we expect more recreations? I always thought it'd be cool to have like a King Arthur recreation, for example. What's the thoughts there?
So, again, going back to me not speaking as a Corvus Belli representative, just what I would think is cool. I mean, Achilles has left a hole, absolutely, by leaving as a recreation, and so I think Aleph would be very cautious about the next one. But I mean, I think it's one of the coolest things of Infinity that that's the case. Like, Achilles isn't the historical figure per se, like gone back in time and brought to the future. Achilles is kind of the creation in Aleph's mind based off of humanity's general idea of what Achilles was in a historical sense, in a heroic sense, like what kind of the common zeitgeist around him was, and to recreate this perfect human hero. So I don't know if Aleph will go back and do the same thing to make him so human that he could kind of fall to convincing arguments on the other end.
I'm so sorry. Halfway through your answer to that, I saw Breakdown asking about a Hatsune Miku recreation, and I just kind of... things got weird.
Everything is up for... Can we get
a custom Maximus sculpt done with Max's head?
Wait, Maximus or me? What are you talking about?
Maximus already has Maximus's head.
I mean, if any of you guys want to make it, I will have it printed and I will paint it. So you're I'll do that for myself. But yeah, can't ask CB to make a me. Now, I have kind of weaseled myself into some possible future lore. So that's a different conversation, and I can't really say anything about that really. But there's in the lore in general, everybody in the company that's been here for a while is somehow represented in different ways. Like the employees get written into the lore. It's not announced. It's not said like who is who exactly, but everybody who's been here for a while has a character.
It's just a nice thing. Like,
yeah.
The big people of whom we do not speak used to do that back in the day. Yeah, that's a lovely thing. M4RK0 Mark has brought up a topic that hasn't come up yet and is important, and you probably can't say anything particularly specific, but it says, I would still love more info on the new series. We're talking about animated series here. Is there anything more you can share? Any teasers?
Nothing more I can share. I would love to, but nothing that I can share.
Sad times. If you want to keep asking, you can keep asking. If I'm very nice, I'll repeat it, but you've had your answer there. All right. Just a few more minutes left here. I'm looking through all this excited chat, trying to find another question. Will asks, is ALF/EI true AI, or actually just really convincing large language model?
No, it is, as far as I know, and I'm not the final word on this, but it is true AI. It is true a general artificial intelligence. So, yes.
Nice one. We did have a couple of questions earlier that I'm just going to pick back up on, actually, about video games. We know about Hexadome Tactics. There's more stuff being talked about there. But is there anything else you can share about the Infinity IP being used in video games? Is Corvus Belli talking to any other publishers and developers right now that you can talk about?
Well, I can't talk about the publishers or developers, but we also did announce at our Interplanetario that there is another Infinity game currently in production, and I have seen it, and I can't communicate to you guys the absolute level of awesome that it is. And I'm taking a step back from my official position. It is incredible. Like, what is being done is amazing. So I can't say anything. I want to tell you everything. I've seen video. It is chugging along in production. It is just insanely awesome.
It's a lot of enthusiasm popping off for just the two words XCOM Infinity in the chat. We need official HVTs named Carlos and Gutierrez so we can civ evac them and hassle them with questions. Very good.
Yeah.
Mark's bumping. What's he bumping? Also, massive stretch, but would you ever consider a lower decks style loving spoof series in Infinity centered on Fusilier Angus?
That sounds like a community written webcomic. So go ham.
Yeah. With correct age recommendations for the audience, please.
Yes.
Okay, we have loads of things coming in for the last minute. I'm going to pick one question from the last minute. Okay. Dispatch Infinity when? Horror works.
I mean, Dispatch looks awesome. I haven't played it yet. Absolutely something really cool. We'll see what happens with our current video games, and who knows what happens with the future. By the way, I'm happy to go a couple more minutes, Alex, if you are. So
I'm happy to give it another 5. I don't want to go crazy. Let these folks lose their chips. Okay, we do have some more questions though, and if there's questions, there's answers probably. Celtic Goth comes back with, what about a new edition of the tabletop RPG, the Infinity tabletop RPG? Anything happening there?
I can't speak to that. We do know our community likes tabletop. We do know that those books sell well, but for different reasons that are lore related, which is another thing that we've noted. So everything's on the table right now.
There you go. Everything's on the table. Dice, plates, discarded crisp packets, everything. Please ask Max when Mizu will get her own Aragoto.
Gabriel, go away. That's Gabriel self-plugging.
Very simple answer.
I will answer Jet's question. Can we get some custom mats for Warcore using the awesome textures and aesthetics from the paper mats?
Yeah.
That is something that we are looking at. So yeah, that's something that we're going to try and plan for the future.
We've got, can we have a Shrike-like character in Infinity? Hyperion Kantos is such a huge influence for Corvus Belli, I feel.
I love that. Yeah. I will bother Gutierrez about that because that's a great idea. And yeah, we should have a Shrike. I mean, kind of next wave totally lends itself to having a Shrike. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
There you go. Effectively, some of these questioners need to kind of like petition you for a royalty on some of these ideas. Mark. Yes,
no royalties.
Spaceballs is always welcome here. Okay, it is the end. I'm going to come back to a very good question from... Oh no, they left. They're not in anymore. They ask you what your favourite breakfast was. It's a tradition now on these AMAs that we want to get a recipe from everyone, like at least one of their favourite recipes. Oh, actually, okay. We will come back to this. I'm going to leave you thinking about your favourite breakfast for a minute. Because, these lovely people are reminding me of the questions that I've forgotten to ask. Tural Gaia, chibi models. They want chibi models. I like, again, small Spanish company, limited production, but chibi side products are a thing now. The company of which we do not speak makes them. A number of others do as well.
Yeah.
Are chibi side models of some of the biggest characters something you would do?
Possibly. I can't really say there. I can't. I'll take it into consideration and bring it to others because that's also another good idea. Yeah, if you guys want to give me ideas, I'm open to ideas. Most of you have my Discord tag. Like, you're welcome to send me stuff. Now, will I answer everybody? Probably not. But I will steal your ideas. So if they get sent to me, they're now my ideas.
That is obviously also how my contract works. If I have an idea, it's not my idea. We have Spaceballs at home, points at Cosmoflot. That's really good. Okay, to those who've just sort of joined and are asking about the materials, we had a conversation about the materials, the move from metal towards various different forms of molding, and now plastic resin is the next thing for Infinity, and that's coming in over the coming months. So also for anyone who's got friends that couldn't make this, the video will be up on our YouTube, so you'll be able to go and find all those answers after the fact. Jedi Minis, I did ask about when the animated series will be released, and they can't tell us. I'm sorry. It's very cool. I want Max to tell me more about it as well, but he refuses to. It's very annoying. Can we get a model per each good idea given? Probably.
I mean, if you give me a good idea that then gets implemented, I will send you something. I will send you probably a signed pair of socks from Bostria. That's what we had. We sent that as a prize at I don't remember where, but I was pretty sure that it was for Chad. Bostria signed a pair of socks, put up for auction for charity. They sold for over $200. So they are high value items.
Very weird. Tau24 asks, as a French person, have you thought of releasing just a box with Metro and Zouaves inside? Just for the Frenchmen of us around.
We'll take a look. Like I said, all the old armies, we kept the rules. They're obviously not just going to stay where they are. So we're looking at a lot of different options for the coming years for what we want to do with them. And yes, the molds are still there for everything. So one time, by the way, Alex, if you would be down for it, I'm happy to go and do like a sneak peek behind the scenes, taking a look at the warehouse, walking around with my phone during one of these, so you guys can see the sheer quantity of molds and stuff.
I'm seeing quite a lot of enthusiasm for that idea in the chat. I would love to do that. Wargamer, we quite regularly try and do inside looks into places. We did a really nice feature about a trip around the Mantic Games factory at one point. It's so cool because it's often forgotten in the hype factory of fandoms around war games that like these evil companies that make them are just like human beings, like just a collection of human beings in a building working really hard. And we like to shine a light on that. I'd love to interview you, Gabriel. Let's set it up. You know, Wargamer's right here. You know, we write articles.
I do want to plug not just Gabriel, but also the Corvus Nest guys. So we're growing the nest. There's a lot of nesters inside of here. Go check out their videos. We will be putting all of the nesters' stuff into places where you can go and check them out. And we will make sure that we're publishing their stuff so that you can find all of their stuff in one place. But these are channels that are growing and they're getting better, and they're going to put out some awesome stuff over the coming years.
Amazing. Yeah, there's a bunch of articles right now on wargamer.com that we've been working on with Corvus Belli that shine a light on quite a lot of the different interesting things community-wise that they're doing right now. There is a brand new affiliate scheme that you can get involved with. There's the Creator Nest. There's a lot of stuff. They do a lot of stuff that other tabletop publishers don't do, and that's not me promoting them. That's just a journalistic comment of fact. So if you're interested in those things, they're not hard to get to. I'm sure Max would help anyone who's interested in getting involved in them. Folks, I have really got to call it a day here. It's been such a pleasure, Max, as always, to have you with us. Thank you, everybody, for coming along. Thank you for the absolute tidal wave of fantastic questions. It's been so much brilliant energy, so much positivity. I think you've got a lot to look forward to in Infinity this year. And based on how lovely all of you people are, you'll have lots of cool people to play it with as well. You heard it here earlier on. This will not be the last Corvus Belli AMA you get from us. There'll be news on Warcrow. There'll be news on all sorts of things. And I will be dragging Max and the team back here for another one of these very soon. So
I'll make sure I manage to drag others into this with me, like Gutierrez. I will bring him in to answer things. So yeah. By the way, you asked me before what my favorite breakfast was. I don't want to leave without giving that. And it is, because I'm a New Yorker, bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. Everything bagel. And by the way, I have that sandwich named after me in Newcastle in a tiny little shop called, I think it was the Tea Room, when I went to university there. I would go and ask for that every single day. They just made a special named after me, the Max Special, which is just a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. So if you're ever in Newcastle, check that out.
One day I'm going to make you buy me a Max special at that place. Folks, there you have it. It's been an absolute pleasure having all of you with us. Keep your eyes on the Wargamer Discord. We've got many more events of these like these coming on. Obviously, Corvus Belli going to come back again very soon. But we have got, oh gosh, who we got? It's got to be, and it's still to be announced. But we've got the guys from Loot 3D coming on next week to talk about Malediction. We're going to have some more cool stuff happening in the new year. Maybe some hobby-focused AMAs with the painting teams at some of your favorite publishers. Loads going on. So, yeah, keep it locked here. Be part of our community and watch for the next one. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Have a great one. Thanks again, Alex. Check out Wargamer. They have awesome stuff, including ours.
We sure do.
Bye, guys.
Have a great weekend, everybody.